and I appreciate the committee's willingness to provide me with an opportunity to draw attention, once again, to the Abandoned Mine Land Economic Revitalization Program, or the AMLER program. And I have to go through that because, as you all know, sometimes it often gets confused with the historical Abandoned Mine Land Program, which is a completely different animal. This pilot program began several years ago at the behest, and in all fairness, at the genius of my neighbor on the Kentucky side of the line, Hal Rogers. It was a great program, and then we piggybacked on his brilliance. Before it was created, of course, you had the old program, but under this program, the big difference is not only do you clean up sites, but you can transition the site for an economic development reason. In a district that is 409th out of 435 in take-home pay, it's a big deal. This has done more for the part of Appalachia that I represent in the coal fields of Southwest Virginia than any other program has done. Project Intersection in Norton, which serves a number of counties down there, has created 345 jobs. They took down a high wall that would have taken a lot longer under the old program to get taken down. It had been sitting there for years. Took down the high wall, created an industrial development park, got 2 people already in it, got plenty of extra land. We have a site, a large site of several hundred acres, where they completely cleaned up an old coal fines pit where they put the small little pieces of coal they couldn't use at the time, cleaned that up, took down the old coal processing plant, and now there's several hundred acres. That one hadn't hit yet, as you know, with economic development and industrial sites. That one hadn't hit yet, but it's prime. It has rail. It has electricity coming in from 2 different directions. I mean, it's got everything already there because it was an industrial site to begin with, and it wouldn't have happened if it had not been. I mean, even the Office of Surface Mining came in and said it would have cost us a lot more money because it was a public-private deal where we put in the public money, and a private developer took all the stuff off, was able to sell the coal that couldn't be used in the past, but now there's technology to use it. It's been a win-win. There's also all kinds of tourism that we've been able to do. We've increased, parking at the Devil's Bathtub. We've increased the ability to use some trails in Dickinson County, which is, if my district is economically challenged, Dickinson County is one of the most economically challenging counties out of the 28 jurisdictions I represent. And they created horseback riding trails, and you say, what does that have to do with coal mining? Along the path they wanted to use were all kinds of mine portals, entrances to abandoned coal mines from the early part of the 20th century. Able to close those off, make those safe. That then made it available so that people could get in there and actually ride horseback. So it's been extremely important, and there's a lot more in my written statements, but that's what I wanted to get across. This has really been it doesn't cost that much money in the big scheme of things, but it's been big. I will also raise this issue that came up. We didn't start this way, but it's been a problem. The federal government has, and y'all took care of it in last year's language, and I don't know whether it survived the CR or not, but one of the concerns is that the federal government suddenly decided that if the people who got the money didn't succeed for whatever reason, then the federal government would take title back to the land. I don't have a problem with a term of years. I don't. And I can give you a whole legal dissertation on my theories on this. I would suggest 7. I don't have any problem with the federal government making sure that, that it's not some scam. I don't have a problem with that. But they wanted to make it in perpetuity. You can't get anybody to develop, and one of my counties has specifically said, we're not touching it. If the federal government is going to come back in, if this project doesn't work the way we planned and they can come back in perpetuity, we're not going to do it. So I would suggest 7. I think there's good legal basis in the altered common law adverse possession law to go as high as 15. That's been amended for about 200 years in Virginia to a 15-year period. And even that's acceptable. My counties have told me that they prefer the 7, but they could live with the 15 because then, they too don't want to scam, but they don't want to have something that sits there and all of a sudden it becomes a permanent problem because the federal government has taken title to it and doesn't know what to do with it. Local people are more likely to figure out what to do with it. So I raised that issue for you, and I'm happy to assist your team any way I can on that issue. But those are the issues. But this is just a fabulous program that, like I said, I'm glad I brought it to Virginia, but I wish that I could claim that I had the genius to figure it out in the first place, but that belongs to Hal. And I yield back.